What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Did y'all see that? What?
Let's just throw Scream 6 in there for like
It
my
was
favorite
good.
movie. It was really good. The best of the franchise, in my opinion, since the first one.
Yeah.
Bill Kelly, welcome inside the Crazy Ant Farm. How are you, man?
I feel like Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone.
Perfect.
Running down the hallway.
Perfect. One of Logan's favorite movies, so you're going to fit right in. It's going to be
Absolutely.
fantastic. Fantastic. Well, listen, first of all, we are super excited to talk to you and so glad that you decided to come on the show because huge Found fans, obviously. And we have been blessed to be able to talk to several of y'all off the show, and each conversation has been a gem. We have no doubt yours is going to be as well. Yeah, I can't wait to dive into that. But how we like to start this kind of thing off is we're always interested to know how you got started in it. Was it something that you always wanted to do? Like, yeah, the acting bug bit and that was it? Or did you kind of fall into it, a change of pace, something in life happened? How'd you get started?
The answer to that is yes, all of the above.
There you go.
It's kind of funny because I didn't have any acting experience, and when I was in high school, I was a senior, pretty well, unknown in high school. Wasn't a big jock, although I wanted to be. I just got injured like every tryout. And the senior play popped up, and it was the Beverly Hillbillies. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to go do that. I'm just going to go do it. And I remember to this day walking down the sidewalk because the auditions were later in the school day. I think it may have been after school. And walking down the sidewalk to the gym, and I went in to audition for Mr. Drysdale, and they came back and said, "We want you to be the lead." And I'm like, well, doggies, because I did not expect that. So did the play. It was fun, had a blast, and then acting fell by the wayside. Started a career in radio in 1981, and very successful at doing that.
Yeah.
Did a lot of on-air stuff, promotions. Did a lot of meeting, flying to see new artists and stuff. So it was a great career in radio. And then a fax came in to the radio station, which should show you how long ago that was. And it said Florida State Film School, open auditions, volunteer to be an actor. And so I went and did it. I went and auditioned. They had a bunch of signs on the table that you could choose from. And there were a bunch of people there from the town. And so I went in, did the audition, and pretty much immediately started getting parts for movies, for student films. And they were usually anywhere from 6 minutes. And I think we did one that was an MFA thesis film that was 23 minutes long that played at festivals all over the world. I'm big in China. Okay?
Yeah, I bet you are.
For that movie. And that's where it came. I did about 30 student films. I had a friend of mine here in town, Fred Rabath. Thank you, Freddie. He gave me a lot of opportunities in his independent stuff. We did a lot of what I call competition commercials, which kind of spawned from the Super Bowl, the Pepsi Doritos Super Bowl ads.
Right.
Crash the Super Bowl competition. And then I got divorced, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. I contacted Susan Gallagher, who plays Homeless Lynn on Cobra Kai.
Yes.
And she and I had done a film together, student film together. We were in the film together. We just didn't have any scenes together. So I called her and said, I understand you have an agent and you're getting some auditions. So would you introduce me? So she gave me the referral. Tracy Danielle with Brevard Talent Group. I drove down, did a cold read with her. And she said, I'll let you know. And then 2 weeks went by, and I went, well, that plane flew out. And so I thought, I'm going to email her and say, thank you for the opportunity. Keep me in mind for the future stuff. And she wrote back and went, crap, I forgot to tell you, I'm taking you on. So, that's where it started. And literally right out of the starting gate, I started doing auditions for stuff, shaking in my boots, and got my first feature film, which was Pain and Gain. I had a few lines in that.
Yes.
And then did Burn Notice, and I had a nice scene with the lead actor in that, and it just kind of went from there.
Mm.
Oh wow, that's fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
just we are
Like,
true
whoa, look, we're out of
believers.
time. Thanks for
Yeah,
the.
right there.
I talked a
Boom.
lot right there.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, we're true believers in everything happens for a reason. And if you step off the beaten path, then whoever, faith, believe in,
Yep.
aura, karma, all the good things, they will put you back on the path you are supposed
Yeah.
to be on. We truly believe that. So it definitely, there's no calendar, there's no time frame of which, especially chasing the dream with something like this, where like
Exactly.
this is where you're gonna make it, this is where you might fall, different things like that. So it's such an amazing thing because, like you said, already having such a well established career in the radio industry, and this being the new radio, I'm sure is very interesting to you. So how do you keep that confidence moving forward? Because you did go through a lot of life. You did, try different paths along the way. So how do you keep that confidence to continue moving forward in the film and television industry?
You know, I didn't start until I was 50.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So that was one of those things that I I met so many artists through the radio industry and so many people, and I had to stand up on so many stages in front of thousands of people. So that alone built my confidence up. Doing interviews with Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood and Tim McGraw and Kenny Chesney and all these people. So the confidence was there, but getting in a room with a producer, director, casting directors, writers, and doing cold auditions has its own pretty good merit of nerves,
Oh, without
bundling
doubt.
up. But I don't know. I go in there and just I do the best I can, and I love it when they give me direction because I can make changes on the fly, and I settle down a little bit, and I don't know. I just put this picture right here in my face, and I kind of wipe that all away, and just create the image in my head of who I'm talking to, and it's not even like I see the casting director or stuff. It's just I kind of blank it out of my mind, and
Yeah.
being on set your very first film with Mark Wahlberg and Dwayne Johnson and Anthony
Right.
Mackie and directed by Michael Bay, you're kind of in the deep end,
Oh
so you're
yeah,
gonna sink or swim.
yeah. But what a learning experience though, right? And we talk about that all the time. It's like it doesn't matter whether you're a background actor, whether you have a word, a dialogue, not if you're on set, use it. It is a learning
Yeah,
experience. Is it a way to see how it works? It's a way to make connections, to talk to people if they're willing to talk to you. It's the best place you can be if this is what you want to do. And I want to touch on what you said because as we know, COVID, right? So it kind of changed the game a little bit with auditioning. The
yeah,
cattle
it did.
calls kind of went away, and the in face to face across from the casting director. Now it's Zoom. Now you're sending self tapes. Now you're like, so to even get to the point where you can get a chemistry read and get in a room with somebody, it's all via Zoom and self tapes first. Was that difficult for you? As someone who's been on both sides, you were in the room and doing them in person, and then I'm sure had to shift while it shifted in the industry. What was that like for you? Did you like that, or because you mentioned that you liked getting the feedback from the casting director or the
Yeah,
director in the room, and obviously you don't get that with the self tapes. So
yeah. Being in the room is its own piece. You can get in there, and I miss getting in the room with people because
sure,
that is just that's what builds your fortitude, what builds your guts to go in there and do this every day. And I'm in a hub. I live in Tallahassee, Florida. I'm not in New York. I'm not in LA,
right.
but I'm in a hub of anything in the Southeast that goes to auditions. So if I have an audition in Atlanta or Miami, um, New Orleans, the Carolinas, I jump in the car, drive 6 hours, do the auditions, drive back. And I did that many times. I drove to, I think Tampa, St. Pete, somewhere in there for an audition for independent feature film, and it was Matt Dillon
Mm-hmm.
was his film, and I drove down and did the audition with the casting director. Turned around, came back home. I no sooner got home and they said, "Hey, you got a call back." And so I had to get in the car and turn around and go back pretty much
Damn.
a couple hours later.
Wow.
And it was, and it was worth it because I went down and did the callback audition, and they said, "Hey, today we're going to have you read with Matt Dillon." And he rolls in the room in a wheelchair, which was his character's wheelchair, and introduced himself. And we did the audition. I didn't get the part, but it was a great, great learning experience
Without
to
doubt.
where you don't get that now with COVID taking away the live auditions. And I think, it just got to the point where it's easier to do this way. They do it by Zoom. I've done a couple callbacks by Zoom, this year,
Yep.
and it's just not the same, to study all the way, run your lines through the thing and get comfortable with the character and then walk into the room and meet, because you never know. You walk into a room and you meet a casting director or a producer, a writer, a director, and that's where the chemistry starts. So you
Exactly.
don't have that anymore. It may be, if the director's there and you've walked in the room and three other people have walked in the room and just you clicked,
Yes.
that may help you get that part, if you've got a good chemistry with the director.
Or a future part. I can't tell you how many guests
Exactly.
that we've had on the show say that, they didn't get a certain role, but then they were told down the line when this particular casting director called them back and said, no, no, you wowed us. We loved you. That just wasn't the role. We put you
Yeah.
away and said, let's get the right role for this guy and call him back. And we heard that consistently over and over from guests. And you're right. You kind of don't get to be able build that relationship or that dynamic, that
Mhm.
chemistry via Zoom. So,
Yeah, I just
yeah.
auditioned. There's a series for, I forgot who it's on, but a series that's getting ready to start. I think it may have started shooting already, and I auditioned for two of the characters and didn't get the parts, and then they came back with a third character, and I got the part for that one.
Yeah, there you
So,
go.
it works out like that a lot of times, where even somebody will look at you and go. And when I got Burn Notice, I auditioned for Burn Notice like multiple times, and they came up and said, "We wanted you for Burn Notice, but we just didn't have the right role for you." And then
That's
you
right.
eventually got the role, five auditions later for five different episodes. So it works out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's so amazing. Yeah, because you never know what's going to come your way. And it's all about staying open to the possibility of different things and different opportunities presenting themselves at certain day and ages. And it's very interesting too, because I'm going through a program right now. I went back to college for a live entertainment and technology program. So I'm learning a lot about the behind the scenes of concerts. We went and toured a radio station and different things like that. From where you started in radio to where the entertainment industry is now, what do you say is the biggest change that has happened? Like whether it be marketing, the personalities, or what have you? What do you think is the biggest change?
Well, I think from a radio standpoint, the biggest change is basically there's not a lot of people doing it
Mm-hmm.
anymore because
Yeah.
they've been taken over by major companies, and major companies are directed by boards who want to save as many pennies as possible. So they end
Mm-hmm.
up figuring out ways of, syndicated shows or DJs that are in multiple markets and voice
Mm-hmm.
tracking their show. So that's been a major change in the radio section of it. But you look at a local morning show compared to a Bobby Bones or an Elvis Duran morning show, and those morning shows are winning on a national level because they're bringing in, Kelsey Ballerini or Tim McGraw, or
Mm-hmm.
on the pop side, Lady Gaga, and having some of these entertainers in there, and people want to know that. So I think it's been good. It's been kind of a transition period for a lot of radio people that are used to doing it one way, but the only thing inevitable is life is change.
Change.
And and then from the entertainment, the acting standpoint, I think, looking at, auditions and how those are done, and I think the industry's changed a little bit. I think there were a lot of platforms that were showing up with a lot of different content, and
Mhm.
it just got to a point where you had shows that were doing 8 episodes and in one season because it just didn't get the viewership.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The music industry kind of did that with, back in the '90s. They signed everybody. They threw it up on the wall to see what would stick, and then they went in and cleaned house and said, "Okay, we're going to reel it in a little bit." So I think Hollywood's kind of doing that too because they're not producing as many shows as they were, a year or 2 years ago when we came out of COVID or prior to that.
Yeah.
And some of the platforms are not being able to sustain themselves. I think there's been one that's pretty much shut their studio down, but I think it's Paramount Plus, but I can't
Yeah, that's
say
the
that for
rumor.
sure.
They keep saying, if the Skydance thing goes through, they definitely want to like Paramount Plus. Um, it's interesting though because I think you're right. When those all of the streamers first started, it was slam it with content as much as we
Yeah,
can get, right? And it became quantity over quality, and they quickly realized that's not going to work. It's great for indie filmmakers or indie creators out there to get a chance to have it on a space. But if you're more concerned about putting many things out as opposed to putting a few good things out, you're going to get in trouble real quick, right? And
yeah,
so I like that they've kind of corrected course and go, okay, maybe we only greenlight 5 shows this year and they're all really good, as opposed
right.
to 20 that don't hit so well. Um,
Yeah,
which yeah, it's and I think this is where we're at now, right? This is how we're still kind of figuring it out. How long should a theatrical run be? How quickly before we put it on a streamer? Do we make it just for the streamer? It's
yeah,
getting, that window seems to be getting shorter and shorter. I mean, there's movies that are still playing and on streaming at the same time, which
right.
is so just confounding to me. But I'm interested because looking at your resume for the acting gigs and stuff, you certainly have played numerous roles and different types of roles, but recent some lawmen. Yeah, we had where the crawfish things and like the sheriff, and now Found, obviously playing Captain Mallory and stuff. Do you have a particular genre or type of character that you prefer to play over another, or are you just wide open? Like, I want to take chances, I want to take risks, get whatever I can.
I really want to take I get cast in a lot of authority roles, and I talked to Glenn Morshower when we were shooting Bloodline,
Yeah,
and he's like, I said, yeah, I'm kind of typed into playing the authority roles. And he's like, dude, I made a whole career out of playing military and cops and stuff like that. So it's never a downside when
no,
you're doing
yeah,
that. But yeah, I want to, I just got an audition today for a comedy film
there you go.
that I would love to nail a comedy because I am as far away personality wise from any of the cop roles or DEA, the serious stuff that I
Yeah.
play all the time. I just have that look that gets away with it. But yeah, I'd love to do a comedy, love to do a comedy, and love to just be. I just worked on a film that I can't really say. It's on IMDb, but I can't really say
Right, right.
what it is. But I got to play kind of a normal guy, and that's
Mhm.
that's fun for me. And I want to be able to do that, those parts as well where I'm a farmer who's out trying to grow a crop,
Yeah.
and deal with twisters and all that stuff. But I'll take all the authority figure roles I can get, especially if it gets me in the room with more A-listers. I mean, that's always great.
Oh, without that. And like, can we just say real quick though, your personality shines through. We see the shirt. It's a fun shirt. It's a fun background that you got going on. But I'm looking at all the pictures behind you, going, oh yeah, this guy's a total geek. He's like all in. He's just
Oh yeah,
like us. And you can see our backgrounds have the same thing. We got Grogu back there and the superheroes, dude.
yeah.
And you're rocking our shirt. So we
Well, and this is light compared
yeah,
to what
no,
I usually
love
wear
it,
because
love it.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Hard Daddy shirts,
Yes.
HARDADDY.
Yeah.
They're a printed shirt. They with all these wild graphics on it, and I'm pretty much known for those wild colors. I've got a pair of canary yellow, neon yellow shoes by No Bull
Nice.
that I wear at the gym sometimes, and yeah, I am all about flash and getting out and having a good time and, just life. I mean, I've been extremely, extremely blessed with the stuff I've been able to do. So
There you go.
I never take it for granted.
Love it.
So epic, man. So epic. Well, let's talk about Found a little bit
Yes.
because we are loving this freaking show. I mean,
Yeah.
from the first
Oh
season
yeah.
to the second season, I definitely feel like it's just blown up. And if I, Dustin, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Bill here is our fifth member of the cast, fourth or fifth member that
Yeah.
we've had on from
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
show. So that's absolutely
No, we
amazing.
just keep lining them up, and you guys are all stellar. And
Thank you.
yeah, and because I want to dive in because you guys have all come with every person that we've spoken to has said the same things about the community that is built on that set and how the interaction is and what it feels like. And so the message that that show is sending, right? Giving voices to people who don't have voices, giving a platform to be seen and heard, and the storylines and the things. But then that chemistry is there. I think this show is working so well because it seems to be that the people involved are genuinely those people, and that is the
Mhm.
mission, right? So talk about that a little bit. Talk about your casting process there, and yeah, what has your experience been on the set and with the fellow cast? Anissa loves you. We recently interviewed Anissa, and
Yeah.
she couldn't stop praising you.
We talk about every day. I love that
That's what
woman.
she said, and I said I'm gonna ask him. You better be saying the truth. But talk about your experience at the casting. How'd you get the gig, and what it's been like for you?
I did the audition, and I think it was. I remember doing the audition. I'm pretty sure the character was Joe Mallory at the time.
Okay.
When I got the audition, I did the audition, and I got the part. Didn't have any idea how many episodes because it'll say recurring guest star or something.
Right. Right.
And I like when I did Bloodline, it was recurring guest star, and I think it was only scheduled for 2 episodes, and that turned into 9. And then this one, you pretty much you don't know until you get the call that okay, you're going to be in this one as well. So yeah, it was a great 10 episodes so far, and I'm just thrilled to death to be a part of this team. It is absolutely the most fun set and cast and crew that I could ever ask for. Shanola is just the sweetest,
Yes.
most. You walk in there, she walks in the room, and it's just like "Whoa." The room just lights up because
Yes.
she's got this enormous smile, enormous personality. She's singing at the top of her lungs. She's dancing around, and she loves everybody there. She walks in there and she knows matches. What'd you do? How was that thing over the weekend? You get that done? And Bill, hey, how's that going? And she knows everybody's name and what they're doing, and she cares about everybody on that cast and crew more than anything. We have the most fantastic crew. They're absolutely professional as can be, but we have a lot of joking around, and it's just extremely fun. And then they say action, and we hate each other.
Yeah, that's right.
you
Yeah,
know,
we're gonna talk about the little dynamic between Trent and Mallory and Gabby, and yeah, I'm so glad though that you said that because we had the great opportunity to meet Shanola and hang out with her, and same thing. She makes you feel like you're the most important person in the world when she is speaking to you,
yeah,
and genuinely cares about you and what's going on with you. And it was one of the greatest moments to be able to have that opportunity to meet her and get to know her. And yeah, it's a pure gem. We agree with everything you said. She's absolutely wonderful. And yeah, I love that you okay, because you brought it up, so I want to talk. Mallory sometimes feels like maybe he's got a stick up the ass. Um,
you think?
yeah, just I feel like this guy is deep down he's a good guy, but other times he just wants to cause chaos. He wants to cause a bit of drama. It's like I believe in what you're doing, but I hate how you do it, and I want to be,
Yeah,
get into it, right?
he's the guy that he looks at that precinct as almost like the Dirty Dancing, where Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey are dancing, and Patrick's trying to get her space. This is your dance space. This is my dance space.
Yes,
Well, that precinct is Mallory's dance space,
yes.
and you don't come in there and act like you own the place, or I'm going to put you into your place. But yeah, and there's more to come of Mallory that um, it's just that there was a scene that Brett and I did, Trent and Mallory,
Yep.
and it was where Trent was trying to say, hey, sign the arrest warrant, and it was almost like Mallory's backing up, going, now wait a minute, if she did this, we'll find out. But right now, let's hold off because she's been through this, and people are like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
Mallory's got a heart.
Exactly, because Mallory was always the one going at Gabby, like,
Yeah,
so when he said that, it was like, wait, what? He's gonna let her fly? What? But yeah, and I mean, and I'm sure Logan agrees with it, but it's clearly they've been dropping little things about Mallory's background, so more is coming, right? They're doing a really good job of giving you little pieces of his backstory that you just know something is like, okay, they're brewing this pretty good. He clearly had a dynamic with Trent's dad, right? So
yeah.
so there's that, and there's got to be more to play there, I think. But yeah, I just think that the way you play off of everybody and what you bring to the character has just been brilliant so far. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's fun. I make it. You go into a new series like that, and you don't know anybody, and you kind of walk around and on eggshells a little bit, going, "Okay, who's gonna kind of get my humor and not?" And I love to talk to pretty much anybody. I love to watch the process. I mean,
Mm,
it's just amazing. Every time I get on set, I walk through that building and I see the sets, and I just thank God I get to come and do this. And I want to take everybody on a tour and go, okay, we're walking and walking, and here's the set of the DCPD Police Department here. And if you look to your left, we're walking in here, because it's just a playground of fascination for me from, watching the angles and the camera and the lighting and how they set everything up, and Mallory's office, and I got a wall that moves behind me, and I'm like, who knew? It's just
yeah, yeah, that movie magic, right? Like,
it's movie magic, yeah, and it's so fun. And then I ease up on my personality because of Shinola and because of the crew and stuff, and I always make it a point to go over and talk to the background actors, and make them feel welcome and relaxed, because they're scared, they're timid, they're on a set, and there's all these people the principal actors are doing their stuff, and they don't know if I'm doing it right or doing this. So I like to joke around with them and kid with them, and just make them feel like, hey, you're part of our family. You may be
yeah,
here for this one day, but you walking in and talking to that other officer and handing him that file, that is such a part of the building process. So thank goodness we have all these talented background actors that come in and add to the whole, the realm of what found is.
yeah,
Ooh, I love that too, because I mean, not a lot of people on such a prestigious set talk about, the background actors and how much anxiety that goes into their day or
Yeah.
two of work that they go through, being on such a like well-oiled machine that this one is being established as. So that's absolutely amazing. And with being such a attention to detail person, do you ever see yourself stepping behind the camera, maybe directing an episode or maybe helping out with some camera movements or anything like that?
It's I love working with Bill on his camera work is amazing, and he'll say, "Can you take a step back, take a step forward, do the hokey pokey, whatever he does." I love helping him get what he wants out of that shot, and so I love doing it. And I'd love to see what goes on,
Hmm.
but I got so much fun going on in the front of the camera.
There you go.
It's not yet, not time. When I'm 97,
yeah,
I'll probably
yeah.
want to do that.
Yeah,
There you
and
go.
it's never too late, yeah, as you've
It is
as
never
you've
too late.
said. So you never know. You never know.
You only fail when you quit.
That's right. That's right. Oh man, wow. I love you, bro. You're like you fit right in with us. It's like we're
Yeah.
talking to ourselves a little bit right there. Well, okay. So how we like to wrap these things up? We've been doing this new thing this season on the show, and we call it our popcorn questions. So we hit you with 4 or 5 questions just to have a little bit of fun. Are you ready? Because they
Yeah,
get
go
they
ahead.
get a little fun. Logan, you got the first one?
Of course. What do you think the most funniest moment or most memorable moment was on the Found set?
Mm.
Funniest moment or memorable moment? Wow. There's just there's so many. I think the most memorable moment was the dialogue that Trent and I had, Trent and Mallory had, Brett and I had in that scene was memorable to me. It was also a very fun moment for me, but it's there's so many little fun moments when we screw up. I
Mhm.
Yeah.
love it when they put out the blooper reel.
Oh yeah.
It we don't take ourselves so seriously. It's just like, Dad gummit,
Right.
I'm sorry, I can't do that. And we all have one word that will not ever come out of your mouth in combination with the other words in front of it. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
It
Mhm.
is. I did a scene where I was on the episode of Six with, it's all military, and I got to say something. It would not come out. It just would not come out. And I was like, "Can I change that to this little word?" And it's like, "Yeah, do it." Pimp. And ends up what they used. But yeah, there's so many fun things. So kind of hard to narrow that one down.
Yeah, how's your singing voice? We hear you guys like to bust into song every now and then too, huh?
Yeah, I mean, Shanola does it. I love to. I've been, people tell me I'm loud, but I sing all the time. I mean, I am,
Love it.
so don't blink, because
There you
just
go.
like that, the six. Yeah.
Oh,
So
oh, maybe a country singing
Little
career
yeah, I
too,
mean,
country
right? He
singing.
was
I
country
love it.
DJ. I could do the little country twang there too. Um,
yeah, I've got a lot of country songs that I'm, fond of.
I bet, I bet. All right, question number 2. If you could live inside a movie or a TV show, which one would it be and why?
Man, you got some good questions here. Yeah, the marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Ooh,
Mm.
And I
nice.
I think this show's in its fifth season so far. We just discovered it because there's so much content out there.
Of
But this
course,
is an
yeah.
amazing show. But watching that team of actors, and they got some pretty good sets. They
Yeah.
got
Mhm.
some great apartments, and yeah, I could live there.
Fantastic. Can't go wrong with that. I mean, I'd like to jump in anything Amy Sherman Palladino is doing. Like,
Yep,
sign me up.
yeah. Or Landman, I could do
Or
that one.
Landman. Oh yeah. Oh, I could see
Yes.
you on Landman. I could totally see
I
you on Landman.
I love that show. I love the dynamic of that show. I met Mark Colley years ago when he came through town, did a show, and reached out to him on Instagram, and so we've talked a little bit about,
Yeah,
just having fun, and yeah, it's an awesome show. I'd love to do that show.
without
Completely
doubt.
agree. I love the writing, like, because I'm catching up now. I think I'm on the last episode, and every time, like, something crazy is going on, I text Dustin and I'm like, oh my gosh, this little
Yeah,
line of dialogue is so freaking great.
Yeah,
looking at people that I've known from country music, Dwight Yoakam,
yeah.
Hmm.
Mark Colley, uh, um, uh, on Yellowstone.
Yep,
Oh my God, she's only the biggest artist in the world right now.
yep.
Laney Wilson.
Oh, yes, yes.
Watching these people, Tim McGraw
Hmm.
was really an inspiration for me to go into, try to get an agent. Watching him come up, and it's just amazing. It's kind of like, yeah, we can do this. So they take off and are amazing at it.
Yeah, Tim and Faith's work on 1883 just blew me away. Like,
Yeah,
Tim is like a really legit actor, and I was like, okay, well, how's Faith gonna? And then she just like, yeah, woo,
yeah.
good stuff, good stuff.
I gotta plug my phone in because I just got a big old bar that said, "Hey, you're gonna cut them off."
Oh,
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
good.
I
You're
met
good.
both of those people when they were just coming up in the ranks of country, and Tim McGraw actually gave me an autographed baseball
nice,
of Tug McGraw, so I've still got that. Yeah.
beautiful.
Oh, that's epic. I was just living to or listening to Live Like You're Dying. That's
Yeah.
anyway, before I cry right now, if there could be anyone you would want to work with, who would it be and why?
uh, I would love to work with pretty much anybody in comedy, but man, that's hard. I got to say Billy Bob Thornton.
Mm,
Just from
Yes.
from what he does, Billy Bob Thornton is a great dramatic actor with
yeah,
so much sarcasm and lick to him.
Yes.
yeah,
It's just you never know if he's serious because he'll say something and it's like my feelings are hurt, but that's funny as heck.
Right.
yep, yep. Yeah,
And
and
that little
has
smile, that little like grin that he gives you too, you're just like shit. Like,
Yeah, and it's almost like he's looking at you going, "I wouldn't drink that drink I just bought
right?
you."
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and I don't know if a lot of people my age know, but like he's got a lot of comedy in the resume. Back in the
Yeah, he
day,
does.
was on a lot of
Absolutely.
sitcoms and a lot of stuff. So he's this guy that you think of, but yeah, he can tell a joke. He's pretty funny. So yeah, I
Extremely versatile, very
oh
versatile.
without doubt, without doubt. All right, this next one meant to be a little Barbara Walters moment. If you could go back in time and speak to your 10-year-old self, what would you say?
This one is so easy.
Oh, okay, good.
Listen to your father and save your money. Um, yeah, it's my dad told me when I was a little kid, I want you to save some money. I don't care if it's a dollar, $10, $100, save money. That's the lesson that I want to instill in my kids. Save your money for retirement, for when you get old. And I've
Yes.
got two boys that are in as first responders. One's a detective, the other one's a paramedic,
Mm,
and they're both in great careers and doing well. And they've got their plan. The third one's running a restaurant. He loves what he does. He's very knowledgeable and he's doing a great job in that. Just a different career, but they're all three just killing it, and I'm very proud of them.
love that. Love
Oh,
that.
that's amazing, and I know they love to hear that too. It's always awesome to hear that from a father's words, so that's awesome. And then the last one, are you happy with your career so far?
You know, yeah. One of the things I tell my wife is if it ends tomorrow, it's been a great ride.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah. It's you got. I started at 50, and I don't have time to slow down because
Mm-hmm.
I've got. I don't. You'd never know when it's your time to go.
that's right.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm always looking at it as I've got 20 years left
There you
to
go.
make it happen. My dreams are to be in more movies, to be a series regular, and more than anything, make a lot of money so I can give a lot of money back. You see a
Mm,
lot of people that do great things with their money, but I really want to help people that don't have an air conditioner in the middle of a Florida summer.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
know,
You
that
know.
don't have a porch that they can sit on or put a wheelchair up or the roof's caved in and nobody can help them.
Mm, yeah,
I'll
well,
never be able to deduct that stuff as a big tax shelter, but I can walk in the end of the day and go, Ms.
that's right.
Johnson's going to sleep dry tonight.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sir, that's why everything you just listed will happen. Just speaking to you throughout, the passion that you have for what you do, the way you treat people, going out of your way to make people feel comfortable, speaking like you just did about what's important to you if you were to come into the money aspect of the career. All of those things scream you will be successful because you are the type of person that success will come to, because you're a good human being. You can tell that
Thank
by
you.
the way you speak about how you raise your children. You can tell that about the way you approach your career, how you light up when you spoke about your wife.
Love my wife.
And oh no doubt, I could see you lit up as soon as you said her. And but you, sir, are inspiring. You're the people that inspire us to keep going and doing what we're doing and doing it. And I think this interview is for all the up and comers out there. You're the way to do it right. And I think this has been just a fantastic interview. And we couldn't be more happy that you came on and
Thank
talked to
you.
us.
Thank you so much. And I tell, I get students that call up and, they send me emails and want to know how I did it. And people that I meet in restaurants, how'd you do it? And I'm like, I can show you what I did and kind of guide you along. But I love to watch people succeed.
Yeah.
It's actors are very competitive. And I went to an open audition once down in South Florida, and there was a guy in the room, a guy in the line, I guess, to do the room, to go and do the audition, and he is just, y'all might as well leave. Y'all might as well leave. I got this. Y'all get out of here, and just being a jerk about the whole thing. And I ended up getting the part. Um, but why be like that when we're all struggling. So
Right.
if I don't get the part, and I look at somebody in my agent's field, my agent's roster, and it's somebody that is on our team, it's like, hey, knock it out of the park, man! Congratulations. Or
Absolutely.
I'll reach out to people who are actors that are younger actors or not the stars of the show, and just send them a message of, man, you killed it. That was a great scene. And
See,
that may have been their only scene. So yeah, always help who you can on the way up, because you never know who you're going to need on the way
on
down.
the way back down, because no matter how high you get, you will come back down. And we
You
were
will
just
come
talking
back
about
down.
that before we started recording this show. That's so funny that you brought that up, because and listen, if you can't help other people with what you've learned, we've been given so many opportunities, been blessed by people giving us breaks and helping us
Yeah.
out. If we can't return that, then what are we doing? Right? Like, that's the whole point. That's how we all succeed, is by sharing
Mhm.
what you know and giving breaks and opportunities to people. And like you said, be happy for them if they succeed. That's the way to
Yeah.
do it.
Be happy for anyone that succeeds at anything. It's just, we need
Yes.
more of that.
Yes.
Completely agree. Completely agree. Well, Mr. Kelly, thank you so much for coming on the show today and talking with us. It's been an
Thank you.
amazing experience. Open invite. Anytime you ever want to come back on, please feel free to do so.
Yeah,
And of
absolutely.
course,
I'd love to.
this is the time where it's all about social media. So where can people follow you?
Oh, well, on Instagram, Bill Kelly Actor. On Facebook, Bill Kelly, just Bill Kelly. Twitter, Bill Kelly Actor.
There you go.
IMDb. How do you get your IMDb number up? That's the world's biggest mystery.
Yeah,
I know,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
so strange.
It
You
is.
can't. I got nothing. Yeah, I've tried everything. Sending out, hit me on IMDb. Just search me. I don't know, but
Yeah.
nothing
Right.
moves. Nothing moves. So yeah.
I love it. Love it. All right, man. Well, listen, take care. And like I said, we will definitely be reaching back out to you. And this has been an absolute joy. And just continued success, my friend, with everything that you're doing.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.
Oh my goodness. You really, throughout this entire process of starting this podcast, talking to so many freaking people, you really never know what you're going to come across. And Mr. Kelly here is an absolute goofball that's stuck inside of a cop's body.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like,
But yeah, fun. You can tell he's got a lot of humor, and he's living his life, and he's living his best life. But my favorite part, I think, about that whole interview is just what a genuinely good human being the man is.
yeah.
You hear him talk about everything he wants to do and what he's done and the passions that he has, and it's hard to argue wanting somebody like that to succeed. That is the guy that you
Exactly.
want to see have everything happen for. And just could not be more happy that he came on the show. And good interview.
Really was. Really was. Thank you again, Bill Kelly, for coming on the show.